Hey viewers, my name's Kara. It's Tuesday on the Pagan Perspective, and I want to do my video outside because it's so freaking nice out. But because it's so freaking nice out, there's people everywhere. But this week we are talking about personal gain and where do you and where should you draw the line in personal gain. Okay, there's nowhere really outside that I could go where there wouldn't be people walking by or sitting enjoying the beautiful day, so I figured I would come inside and just do this video. So this week we're talking about personal gain and where we draw the line, and the specific example that was given is like in helping a loved one. And so the first thing I would say is that if you are doing something to help someone else, it's not really personal gain because you're doing it for the other person. Like, that would be, the main way to not worry about it yourself and like get in over your head in that kind of worrying way, like, oh my gosh, this is for personal gain, is that you're not necessarily doing it for yourself. So I would argue that I don't think that is the correct term for this kind of thing. However, Annie's video touched on this, and I think this is also true, that we could be saying that it's for the other person, but it's really for us. So I think you kind of have to know the difference between that two. Are you really doing this to benefit the other person, or are you doing it because it is what you want for them? What is actually in their best interest? What do they want out of the situation versus what do you want? So I do think that there are cases where you could really be doing it for the other person, in which case it is not personal gain. But there are instances where I think you need to be aware that it might actually be for you, in which case it is personal gain. I don't really like the term personal gain though anyway, because it just sounds like charmed to me, but I guess that's what we call it. The thing is though, we use magic all the time to benefit our lives and to get the best out of our lives the way that we know how. In a way, everything that we do is for personal gain, because we all want to be happy and we all want to keep our lives in balance in a certain way, and isn't that personal gain? Like, we are gaining something personally from doing good for others and for the world. And so I don't really think that there is anything that could be perfectly impersonal. But here's one example. A couple weekends ago, I did a series of short plays, like 10-minute plays or 8-minute long plays, with a friend of mine, and they were all two-person scenes. And in one of the scenes, I played a bride-to-be named Kelly, and my friend played my brother. And I was going to his apartment, it was after the bachelor party, and I was going to his apartment to tell him that I didn't think I wanted to go through with the wedding anymore. And at one point, my brother, Jim, says to me, "You know, Kelly, it's not all about you." And my response is, "It's my wedding." At which point Jim goes on to explain to me that it is not my wedding. It is also Sam's wedding, the groom, and it is also my mother's wedding, and it is also our grandparents and our aunts and uncles and cousins' wedding, and it is also the community's wedding, and basically this thing that I have created now belongs to everyone else, and I have no say in it whatsoever. And my character's response is, shit. Because it's true. Like, something starts out as being ours, but it really affects other people. And so our decisions affect other people, and other people's decisions affect us. And I think that's why a lot of the times we do want to help out other people and do what we think is best for them, but we really need to think about what they think is best for them, or what is actually best for them, and how could we know that? And so in terms of that scene, I thought that it was best for myself to not go through with the wedding, and my brother thought that it was best that I go through with it because everyone had spent all this money and time and they were so invested in it. And so it becomes a matter of what's more important, making everyone else happy or making me happy. And of course, in that instance, it's me, Kelly. Why would you go through with a wedding if I shouldn't even be saying that, because some of you may have been in that situation and that really sucks. Like, you may have had to make that decision and, really put aside what you felt that you wanted or needed for pressures of other people. You really need to take care of yourself first, and that's what other people tell me all the time, and you need to look out for number one. And it can't always all be about you, but when it gets right down to it, you have to make sure you're happy. And so it really is very difficult to know what we're doing for us and what we're doing for other people. Another example, my cat, Mystery, passed away over the summer, last summer. Oh my gosh, it's been almost a whole year. And she got sick. I and my mother and our friend put our crystals on her and like laid hands on her and did energy work and everything like that to make her better. And she got better and then passed away a couple of days after, and I was there when she finally left. Looking back on that, I know that my first motivation in doing that was that I wanted her to live. I wanted her to be around. So, in a panic, I chose to word things as, please let her get better, fix whatever is wrong with her. And in the grand scheme of things, it was just her time. I shouldn't have been saying things like, fix her, heal her, make her better again, because maybe that's just how it needed to be. After a couple hours, I did start wording things more as, let her not be in pain, let her go peacefully, and let the universe watch over her, which, the same things, like, I want the best for her, I want her to be okay, I don't want her to be in pain, but that leaves room for the fact that her destiny may have been, that it may have been her time, she should go, that is what is best for her at the time, that is what the universe needs for her. There are ways that you can help loved ones, per se, if you really want to help them, in a way that still allows for what needs to happen. There's a difference between doing a spell to fix that person and make them better and change this thing in their life versus, please allow us all to accept this and get through this in the best way possible. And this also goes along with a question that I got on my personal channel, I think in a message a little while back, about praying for other people and whether that's okay and whether it works, especially people who don't believe in the same deities that you may be praying to. And I basically told that person, yeah, I think it's a good thing. I don't think you should feel bad for wanting to do things for other people. I normally, if it's going to be a spell or something like that, I ask the person's permission, because if they are blocking off the energy, not accepting help in that way, like maybe they don't believe in magic or they just don't want help, if they're blocking it off, it's not going to do any good. So if you get their permission and they know that it's coming and they're receptive to the energy, then you can really help them because they are open to it. I mean, there's that too. You could be doing this healing spell for someone and they could just be totally closed off to that kind of help, and so it won't do any good anyway, because ultimately it's up to them to receive the energy as well as you to give it. It's all in your best intentions, and you just kind of have to think of what are the effects going to be. And then in the case of, like, if they don't believe in, like, if I pray to the goddess for someone who doesn't believe in the goddess, does it help? Yeah, I still think it helps because you're still sending positive energy that way, and if they're receptive of that, okay. People who pray to the Christian God to help me, I don't necessarily follow that God, but I still think that energy and that blessing comes to me, and I accept that. So I think that anything that we do, as long as you are trying to do it for the greater good, and as long as you keep that in mind, I don't think there's any harm in doing it, and I don't think there should be a line drawn. We should think about, why am I doing this? Am I doing this for me, or am I really doing it for the other person? If your intent is to do it for the other person, word it in that way. But I do also think we need to accept that most things that we do are for us. We wouldn't always do something that we know is going to hurt us. Sometimes we do. Sometimes we want what is best for that other person so much that even if we have to sacrifice something for it, we will do that. And that's a noble thing too. Give up that little bit because we can spare that for someone else's happiness. But I think we need to be aware of that when we're doing it purposely and when we're just letting ourselves be walked all over. But I do think we need to realize and accept that we do things for ourselves, and that's okay. It's okay to do something for yourself. It's just like people feel uncomfortable about buying themselves a little something that they just want. Have an extra couple of bucks and you buy a candy bar or something. Just like buy something to make yourself feel better. That's okay. You're allowed to feel good about things. And that's difficult for me sometimes too. A lot of the time, that's difficult for me. But I think we need to accept that. We do things for ourselves. We do things to make ourselves happy. Yes, we want to make other people happy, but we also need to make sure that we're okay. So, I mean, I kind of digressed a little bit, but I think you can see where I'm coming from, that it goes back to this question of personal gain. And so I think that that line, if there is one, should just come with your thinking about the situation, and just really, before you do anything, I'm a big think before I act person. Just before you do anything, really understand why you're doing it and what you want out of it, and make sure that your intent shows that. Because the universe can't necessarily read your mind. You need to make things clear for everybody, in life and in magic. That's my take on the situation this week. Look out in the future. We should be, I think, having auditions for substitutes pretty soon. That will not be for regular members. That is for substitutes. let me just say. Look for a video. It might just be a text video that says this is where you submit, and you'll submit video responses. So start thinking about that sometime in the near future. I think we're going to be looking for more subs. I'm also moving back home for the summer tomorrow. I just got done with another finals week, which is why I've been really MIA and why this video is going to be so late today, because I just got out of classes this morning, my last day of class. So I will see you next week, and by then I will be home. So thank you very, very much for watching, and I will see you then. Blessed be.